This video is not for whales and dolphins. It's for you, because you are just like me. Average.gamer here, and today it's all about pulling strategy and making it as simple as we can. And like me, you like to plan ahead for your pulls and think about who suits your account best, right? Right? Well anyway, today I'm going to give you my 5 simple rules for pulling in Zenless Zone Zero to help you make better decisions with your Polychrome. But before we get into it, just a quick reminder that this is my opinion and my rules. So if you really want to pull for someone, you don't need me to justify that for you. Just go for it, mate. Which kind of brings us on nicely to the first rule, which is pull characters that you are willing to build around. What do I mean by that? Well, you can pull whoever you like, of course, but taking a beat to think about how you're going to use them before you just send it, and then you get a character that ends up sitting on the bench. For example, let's say you like the look of Bernice. Well, what was I talking about? Oh yeah, pulling. In the game, and pulling in the game. But let's say you don't want to play an anomaly team. You don't want to build a good support for her like Seth. You're not really interested in running her off field to support a DPS like Soldier 11. You have no plan on how you're going to use her. If this is the case and you're pulling just because hot, then I can't blame you. But if she's not going to add any value to the teams you want to run in the game, then maybe give it another thought before pulling. Ultimately, this rule comes down to team building in advance of the pulling. Thinking about how the character can be used to benefit the direction of your account, and sometimes they might not. And this is also fine, by the way. If you just want to collect your waifus or husbandos, lighter, please come soon. As long as you understand that if you don't have a plan for them, then you may not use them to clear the endgame. This brings us on to rule number 2. Pull around your existing luck. What does this one mean? So think about the characters that you have pulled, whether you wanted to get them or not. Let's use an example. At the beginning of the game, you would have got an S-rank character in your first 50 pulls on the standard banner. Let's say you got Lycan. Now at the start of the game, we had Ellen as our first limited DPS character, who happens to work really well with Lycan. So as long as you liked Ellen as a character, it makes sense to build that team around your Lycan by pulling for Ellen, as opposed to Juyuan, who followed Ellen and would have less synergy with your existing unit. Now this is based on something that has already happened in the game, just to give you an idea, but sometimes it might mean that if you lose a 50-50 to a character that you would also quite like to build around and works well with your existing built units, then maybe it means you can save the guarantee after losing your 50-50 for a different character. And yeah, that's right, I said Lycan. I remember how to say it because it's easy. It's the same as like and subscribe to support small creators like me on YouTube. Thank you all for all the support so far. It's really appreciated. You guys are astoundingly handsome or pretty. Also, join the Discord for some chill Zenless Zone Zero discussions. Rule number 3, don't pull for A ranks. Stay with me on this one. So it's okay for the A rank characters on banner to appeal to you, either from a Mindscape perspective or just from getting them for the first time. However, if you are not interested in the limited S ranks on the banner at all, you should probably just not pull or heavily limit those pulls, and we'll talk about that in just a sec. Because here's the thing, A rank characters have no guarantee. If the A rank that you want is rate up, it's a 50% chance to get one of those rate up characters. So for each A rank that you pull, it's about a 25% chance that you get the character that you want. But no, not that, but there's a chance that you never get that character. Now I'll flash up some probability calcs now, but the fact that you'd have to pull 7 A ranks to get the chances over 70% to get the character you want is ridiculous. That's potentially 70 pulls on a banner, but it's likely more around 50 or 60. So if you don't like the S rank banner character, you better hope you lose your 50-50. Now to be clear, I'm not completely against a little spin of the wheel on this one by maybe doing 30 pulls, but if you are on guarantee and don't want the S rank, you should not pull. Ultimately, no one is ever going to complain they got an S rank character by accident if they turned up within 30 pulls without guarantee. Because even if you didn't want the character that much, the value is incredibly high for the amount of Polychrome that you put in, as long as you somewhat want the S rank character. Now I started this rule with the definitive of don't pull for just the A ranks, but then I went on to say that you can in certain circumstances when it makes sense. Just take a beat and think about it. Let's use an example. Let's say you got super lucky on Jane's banner and she came home in 20 pulls. That's great. But because she turned up so quickly, you didn't get Seth, and you want to run her with Seth, but you don't really want a Mindscape for her as you want to save your Polychrome for an upcoming character. It's okay at that point to say, all right, let's pull for 30 more here and try and get Seth, and then carry that pity over to the next banner I want to pull on. What you really don't want is Jane to turn up again, because that would reset your pity counters and leave you starting from scratch when you want your next character, but 30 pulls isn't really that much. You might hear people refer to this as building pity, and it's okay to do so when you wouldn't mind getting the S rank, and again, no one's going to be upset if that S rank turns up within 30 pulls without the guarantee. If you liked Jane enough to pull for her and you got the Mindscapes 30 pulls in, that would still be pretty sick. However, just in terms of building pity, you would never do it if you were sitting on guarantee, because getting an S rank early when you're not on guarantee is still a 50-50 shot to give you the on-banner character. Moving on, rule number 4. Ensure that you have enough Polychrome. By this I mean that you should have enough by the end of the character's run to guarantee that character. If you go into that character's run with 20,000 Polychrome, that's 125 pulls, and that should be enough to guarantee them before the end of the 20 days. But if you want to make it 100% firmly, that's 28,800 Polychrome, without including residual signals and ting. So realistically, around 25,000 would guarantee the character within their banner period for sure. Now, you can also argue here that sometimes it's worth it to take a 50-50 for a character, and that would be 14,400 Polychrome. Well, again, not including the residual signals. And I would agree with you, but taking a 50-50 leaves you in a situation where, should you lose, you may be sitting on a guarantee, which would mean you'd have to be a lot more cautious with your pulls moving forwards. And it may just not be worth it. But for example, you really want a character and you just aren't going to have enough while their banner is going on, then sure, send it and try and take that 50-50. But just remember that you have the guarantee as you move into other characters should you lose. And of course, you can live your gacha life by just pulling every time you get 160 Polychrome. But if you do that, you can't be upset at whatever character you end up with because you had no plan. You can't complain at that point. Rule number 5. Consider your current pity as you pull. So this is on two fronts. Firstly, you do not want to waste your pity on a character that you don't want. So to use our example from rule 3, you want Seth and you did 30 pulls and hooray, you got him. It's important to be mindful of the fact that you did those 30 pulls, though as you proceed into a new character banner, though as if another A rank comes up that you want, you should probably not pull for them unless you also want the S rank. Now, as we already discussed, you should not pull at all if you had guarantee until you actually want an S rank character. On the second front, when we reach 70 pulls for the limited S rank, we will want to manage our pity as we get closer to the potential for getting the limited S rank character. So we know that the guarantee is at 90 pulls, but around the 74th pull, the chance of getting an S rank character starts to go up. Now at 74, it begins to go up from the standard 0.6% chance, and at 90, it becomes 100% chance. But we as average luck gamers do not want to waste our pulls, so you are better off single pulling until you hit your S rank character from 70 pulls. So that's it. 5 simple rules for pulling in Zenless Zone Zero. Pull characters you are willing to build around, pull around your existing luck, don't pull for A ranks, ensure you have enough Polychrome, and consider your pity. So what do you think? Anything I missed? Please let me know down in the comments below. In terms of pulling, hopefully these 5 rules should give you something to consider as you make decisions for your account and help you to make those decisions easier. If you're interested, another video of mine should be on screen now. And as always, pull responsibly and remember to like and subscribe for better than average luck on your pulls. Bye, bye, bye. And what the hell is this, Hoyo?